initial training was, well, it was quite rigorous actually. When I joined the brigade, not like now, of course, that I just turned up. I don't even know if I had a pair of overalls on. I had to buy my own overalls. We wore white overalls with the brigade emblem or the brigade name embroidered on it in red. Oh, that looked so good. We wore black boots. Helmets, you had to get your own. I think I borrowed mine from the railways. I had a bigger nine. Yeah, it was, we had a whole new crew of people. They'd had, all the old stages had been there a number of years. We had the one tanker, and I think a lot of those people saw it as their time to move on. They could see a new group, whole pile of people, Kevin Dumick, Jeff Irison, myself, Brian Haynes, Murray Thomas joining it in brigade, and so there was a whole new group of people, and we did a lot of classroom work because, fortunate or unfortunately, we had a lot of research that had been done in the 1967 fires in Hobart, which were very devastating, and all of that research was starting to filter through. There was no RFS, but there was a bushfire council, and it was a bit, because the brigades was essentially run on a local government area. We were Sutherland Shire, as we still are. It's still got a local identity, but if we went away, people would ask us where we were from, and we'd tell them we were from Sutherland. Not the Shire, just Sutherland Shire. And they'd always say, Engadine, where's Engadine? But we had to tell them, no, that's not right. So, but yeah, there was a lot of field training. I got some pictures of us. We did a lot of similar to what we're doing now. A lot of hose work, running hoses up hills, competing, doing all that sort of thing. So I think, and the other thing is we had a lot of fires, and so we were able to train on the job. We also had a very active hazard reduction program that started in '75. Now, I'm not all that keen on hazard reductions as training because they're a fire in slow motion and people tend to relax a bit, and it's much easier for people to get hurt. We had a couple of fairly serious injuries. A bloke from Waterpool fell down between some rocks at night and broke his leg and walked with calipers on his leg for the rest of his time. So yeah, it was a whole range, and the training was starting. The organisation in Sutherland Shire was already fairly well established. It had been going for a while, and it still had a long way to go, but we had people like Reg Swars, we had Alan Hemmett, people with tremendous experience, and we were starting to build an organisation that had training committees and training within the brigade. We actually built the first basic firefighters course, and it was taken, I think the Bushfire Council got onto it. We started that after the 1983 fire. So yeah, the training was, I think, quite rigorous. In fact, we used to light real fires. They set the cable drums that they used to run cable off. There were a pile of them out on the mini bike club at what became Warrenora Heights, and so they set them on fire, and we had to put them out. And it took, I don't know how long it took to put these things out, but that was those days. Alan Hemmett would go out and actually light a bushfire, not on a bad day. And with goodness, so we would actually learn. I know it's not easy to do that nowadays, and probably, but of course it was the time. But I think the training I received, I think by the time I got to a position of being an officer and then senior officer, I was probably, and officer training as well. It wasn't just, here's where you squirt the water. And that was something I was very keen on as well, as training people how to be officers, because you can't just put on a hat with a stripe on it. It's a new thing. We used to do a lot of the Bushfires Act. We'd have to be a lot of paperwork. The films, we'd borrow films from the Bushfire Council. A lot of them were pretty old and pretty hopeless, but at least yeah. So I think that was quite a good training.